7:15 here. I got up at 5:30, and my back was sore and such, so I went for a walk up the little road. It's a very narrow little road. And I saw Emma's dad at a neighbor's. I thought I recognized him, and so I waved, and I waved back. And I kept walking, and then I stopped and sat by the river on these huge poles. It looked like telephone poles, but they don't have telephone poles like that here. But they were cement, and they were at least a foot across, and they were very long. And I thought about my bridge I want to make, which will be 50 feet long, and I thought those were probably the right thing. But of course they're on the wrong side of the road, so that won't work. Anyway, I sat there and I saw a speedboat, but these boats are very long, narrow boats. Let's see if I can show you the boat. You see the boat there? Is that it? I don't know. Good morning, Tyler. Well, you're up at the wrong time of day. I can oversee you in the morning on this end. It's evening there, right? Anyway, so I walked up the road. I sat by the river and I watched the boats go by and the wake that they made as they went zooming past. And then Dad came up and found me and said in Vietnamese to come with him, and I shook my head and no, I'm going the other way. And he said, no, come with me or something. And so I finally relented and I went with him. And then we went to where he was sitting. We went in there, and turns out this is in his aunt or something. And is there a bug problem there in Bali? I'm not in Bali anymore. I'm in Vietnam. 2 weeks, or 1 more week in Vietnam. I fly away I think I start leaving here on the 28th. On the 29th, I fly to Bali. No, on the 1st, I fly to Canada from Bali. So the 31st, I have to fly to, because I leave Bali at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I have to fly to Bali on the 31st. And if I fly on the 31st, there's a layover and all sorts of stuff. It's a 6-hour flight, but it could be a lot longer. So I need to spend the 31st flying day. And the 30th then, it's a 6 hours to, it's an hour taxi and then a 6-hour sleeping bus ride to Ho Chi Minh City from here. So that means on the 30th I have to do all that. So the 30th, maybe in the middle of the day, we take a taxi and then I take the bus all night. Anyway, so March 30th is my end of being here. And then I fly until the 2nd of April, which of course is going to be a half a day later. Anyway, it's going to be a long journey, but I like journeys, so it's okay. Anyway, so I was telling you, and which do I like better, Bali or Vietnam? Bali, the people are very friendly, and there's a lot of foreigners who are also very friendly that are escaping whatever conditions are in their country and enjoying Bali. And Vietnam, people don't speak English at all. Bali, they do. Bali, the tourism runs the country and gives them all jobs and such. But in Vietnam, they don't need foreigners. They're very self-sufficient. And so I'm here on a farm, which is where Anna grew up. She moved here when she was 5. So I'm here and learning. Her father and mother are very, very lovely people. They don't speak English. But I have my Google Translate, and so I'm diligently trying to learn things like good morning and I know thank you is Kamun or something like that. I say it wrong, of course. I say everything wrong. Anyway, so this morning he introduced me to the neighbors, and I sat there and I used my Google Translate, and I finally figured out that if I want to say something, I need to translate it to Vietnamese, but the little earphones in my ears were not working loudly enough, so I could barely hear what it said. I don't know why they're so soft today. Maybe they didn't charge enough last night. Anyway, and then they were delighted to meet me, and I know how to say I am Nancy hi, I am Nancy Chow, Doi La Nancy, and a few things. Anyway, so then, like, this is 5:30 in the morning. He's out there visiting with the neighbors, and it's still dark, right? And anyway, it started to get light later, and so we walked back down the road, only a few houses, and the neighbor from next door came out. What did you say? There's not a bug problem either here or there, but then it's 34 degrees in the daytime. I'm not sure what temperature is now, but it's pretty warm and humid already. It's overcast, which is also nice. See the bananas here? This is the grass hut we made, Daniel and I. We need more coconut leaves here. I scooted them over more. They were all, but there was too much light coming through. And now we're extending it down there at the bottom. So we put banana leaves there, and we need more down there. Banana leaves seem to hang through a lot, so it's not the ideal, but it does make a good cover. We're running out of banana leaves, but I just saw another banana plant out in the front that has lots of drooping dead leaves I can use. And I think I've gathered up all the dead coconut leaves that were here, big coconut branches. I think I have to throw them over the fence, and then on the other side of the fence lay them on. That would be easier than trying to stick them up and lay them on. Anyway, that's a 2-day work in progress. But it's nice because here I have a hammock right by the water. And we have a table now. And his dad brought over a tabletop and then brought over the bottom and we put it together, and I have my chair, and we've been working out here. It's been very nice. Anyway, so we came back to the house, and his dad went and turned on the pump and then went and started watering the plants. He has this great big hose, and he waters all the, if you could see all that, that's all bitter gourd and okra and beans. It's a lot. I didn't think bitter gourd was very good in Canada, but the way they prepare it is so nice. It's really a lovely plant. It's got a little tiny bitter taste at the very end of eating it. Not like the way I had it, which was completely bitter. But the other day, I came along with him, and he directed me to take the beans and tangle them into the wires that go overhead. Like it's a mesh, a 6-inch square holes. And so I've been out there working, and the 3 ladies from next door came over, and they talked to him for a minute, and then they came to see me, and I put my translate thing on, and I did find the word Canada, so I said Canada. Anyway, it was, they laughed and laughed. They were very happy and laughed, but I got the feeling they were laughing at me, or not laughing with me. Maybe because I was working, and, I like doing stuff. I like being busy. Anyway, and so then I'm hot and tired, so it's only 7:15, 7:20 now, so I came and laid down in the hammock I put out here. It's connected to a coconut tree, and the other end is connected to a jackfruit tree. Can you see these great big round things? Those are jackfruits. So we kind of put our house in the middle of them. I've been listening to birds and trying to identify them with my BirdNet app. Many kinds of birds, unbelievable the kinds of birds, and I'm getting to now recognize which sound is which bird. And I also am learning the names of the plants, like this is obviously jackfruit, because there's jackfruit growing on it. And of course I know banana. You take the big red thing that hangs down off of the end. There's a big flower. It's shaped like an egg, or a skinny egg, and it's purple. They cut them off and they sell them. They take them all and sell them somewhere in market or something, and that's used for salad. And last night we had the most lovely salad. It was made with green mangoes, and they cut them in skinny strips, and they're a little bit sour. But it was so good. There was turkey and that, and bean sprouts, and I don't know what else there was in it. A few things. So I've learned that the dipping sauce is no good for me. If I use the dipping sauce, there's usually sugar or salt in it, or a lot of both, and that makes me hurt. So I can't do that. And so I've been in pretty good shape yesterday and today. Hey, look, there's another dead banana leaf. Maybe I could cut that one and use for our... Now see, as soon as this banana thing is harvested, this plant is no more useful. It only will have one bunch of bananas on it, and then it dies. But it has little ones that grow up under it. And so you could transplant the little ones out. I love this spot we've selected for our place. And so I spend a lot of time here because the house is narrow and long, and there's a long porch outside, and it has hammocks in it, but it doesn't have a very good breeze, not the breeze I need. So this is better out here, and I'm right in nature, and I like it, and I feel comfortable, and it's like my own hotel room, which I created. Daniel helped me put the poles into the ground. And the way to put the poles in the ground, you take a pointed piece of 2x4 and you hammer it with a big, huge mallet. Not long handle, short handle, but a heavy. And you hammer that in, and it parts the ground enough. And then you put the pole in, you hammer the pole in, and then you take water and you pour water on the dirt, and it makes it lay flat. It fills the hole, right? I should do that with mine at home. I'm learning many great things. I love the bean idea. So after I did all that, I went out to the beans, and I took all the tops that were sticking up and I wove them in, which is a lot because it's a long stretch. I don't know, maybe 100 feet or something, maybe 50. I don't know how long it was, but I went down one side and then back the other side. That was very nice. I enjoyed doing that. And I've learned now that if I'm going to grow beans, I need to make a tunnel, like an upside down U, and the beans will grow up one side, and then you tip them and make them grow across, and then the other side will come up and across. The way I was doing it before, I had just poles, and that's great. They go up the pole, but then they spiral way up another foot or two, and so that wasn't working. And so I tried to make some arbor arches, which also didn't work perfectly. But if I made a framework of willow, now that would be good if I put that across the top. But just using arched cedar branches didn't really work across the best place I have the beans growing. Anyway, I'm thinking of more places now to garden and how to do a better job. On the hillside, I can do the beans. Have to make terraces up there. So that sound is coming. It's like the ice cream man, only one has meat hanging, raw meat, like it was chickens, were all skin and everything. Will Willem accept me back? What a thing to say. Willem loves me. Yes, he would be so glad to see me. We FaceTime a lot. I have a camera on his desk, so whenever I get a little notification of movement on that camera, I say, "Hi, darling." I put, open it up and all that. And he's glad to talk to me, and then we FaceTime, because at least I know. Or not FaceTime. FaceTime and messages don't work here. WhatsApp works. Everybody talks to each other on WhatsApp. At least in Bali, everything was WhatsApp. Here, people don't all read and write. Some do, of course. And so and their eyes are not always that good because everything is not the same as it is in Canada. It's a much poorer country. farming is so cool because it's really rustic. It's like, hey, you know when you buy pears, fancy pears in the grocery store, sometimes they're in that little styrofoam mesh, very thin styrofoam mesh. Well, I always thought that that was part of the packaging process. Before they put them in the boxes, they wrap them in those so that they don't rot against each other. Well, that's not it at all. They are put on the tree. When the fruit is small, as soon as the fruit is growing and not going to fall off, they put those mesh things on. And the mesh is flat, and it's got a plastic bag over it and a rubber band around the end. And so you open that up and you slide it over the fruit. And so you see all these trees with white things hanging on them. I don't really see them all now. I'm isolated from that area, but if you go that way. That's the Greater Cocoul, Coucul, I think. Greater Cocoul. It's a small, it's a large bird. It's like a crow, but it's brown, and it stays along the ground and walks along the ground and gets insects. It's not a great flyer. I love hearing it. I thought it was an owl at first. Oh, and today I've seen all these blue herons fly over that have beautiful white markings underneath. They're not like the gray herons. And according to the internet, there are 12 kinds of herons in Vietnam. So we're down at the very tip. Like if you go to Coi Te or Couthe or Tho or something like that. They raise fish. There's a net surrounding the water over there somewhere. Can't see very well. And the fish are farmed in there. We went looking for eels yesterday. That was quite exciting. So Daniel says that they're heading off. They're going to go and dig for or catch eel. Well, we went. There's these two long ditches, like this canal. There's two of these. This one is narrow, and it becomes very small later and sort of disappears. And about the time it disappears, there's another one. And you have to just get out and cross over and get in the other boat in the other canal. And anyway, so they had gone up that way. So I walked up there, past all the fruit trees. There's all these oi, which I guess is guava. Red guava and white guava. Beautiful fruit. Tastes great, but you have to be careful because there's little seeds in them and you can break your teeth off. And that's just what is not wanted. Anyway, so we went up there and he's got his shovel. Her dad is a small man, very muscular and very happy, and doesn't speak much English, except he says, okay, okay. He's always very happy. He repeats us if we say, okay, okay. But finally, I'm learning to say how to say things. I have to work hard at it. Anyway, so my Google Translate, I'm finally figuring out how to do it. For a long time, it wasn't working at all. But now I think I can do something with it. And the best thing is to do English and have it translate and then have it speak. And if I take it off of the earphones, maybe it'll speak loudly enough to the other people that they can hear it without the wrong accents. TH does not say th, it says t, which makes me understand so much more about communicating with Enna. She'll say the T instead of TH, and I'm never understanding. They also don't use a lot of the other words, like I go now, and just stuff like that, so that it's, or I go. Leaving out all the extra words that are not so important. So anyway, we went out to catch eels. So he digs this big hole. Oh, there goes a bird. I think that now in Bali that would have been a yellow vented bulbul, but here they are where there's a whole lot of Asian KOEL, coal, which is that one. Coal, 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 coal. That's the Asian coal, which is a blackbird. Kind of like a starling. So he digs a big hole, and the top few inches of the ground, maybe 6 inches, is dry as a bone and cracked. So he digs into that, throws it out of the way, and then he starts digging this waterlogged soil. He digs down, and then he makes it bigger, and he makes it wider and wider, and then he's down there on the ground throwing the dirt out, and it rolls back down, and Daniel's there trying to keep it from rolling down, and always offering to help, but not, and if he offers to help and it's not the thing, then the dad will just do like that. Do you think you'll travel to Vietnam or Bali ever again? Well, so it doesn't sound quite like. Oh, I think that's a plaintive cuckoo. The plaintive cuckoo makes a doo 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 doo. It might be the plaintive cuckoo. I'm learning them. I love learning this stuff. I love learning everything. So this is a date tree. You see there's some dates? But why is there a coconut hanging there on the date palm? See those things? All these things are those little sticks. Those get covered with dates. Now that's a chicken, which is in this area called a red jungle fowl. And that's the sound of a motor of a boat going up the river. The river is on the other side of the road over there. It's quite lovely here. So do I think I'll come here again? Yeah, probably, because I think Daniel and Anna will probably live here. Maybe not with the family. Maybe they'll go and live up in the northern area, but I think they'd be better off living. Most people children and families live together. They just add on. And so we have this nice little location now. I don't know. If they get jobs in Canada, they'll come back to Canada. If they don't get jobs, then they'll stay here. They'll stay here till they get jobs, I guess. So I'm sure they'll get jobs. So eventually they'll come to Canada. But this is such a better place for them because it's warm all year and you can work all year and be outside. I would live here if it wasn't for being Canadian. It is a communist country, which is a little bit weird when the army starts doing stuff like putting cables up in the road and stopping all the traffic and acting very official. But yeah, I'll definitely come back and visit them. Yeah, I'll probably come here if this is where they live. Bali is nice. The beach has got black sand and the sand goes everywhere. So you take off your shoes when you go into stores and things. But I'll probably go back again. I don't know. I do like being alive. I do like having a life and not just being at home. People ask what I do, and now I say I'm a basket maker. I make baskets. That's what I do. Because that is what I do. My grass hut situation. I'm going to make a mat out of coconut leaves today. I rolled this thing over here for a little table. It's supposed to be a chair, but I'd rather have my back supported. So this is quite comfortable. It's nice to have a room, Get a room. Dreams are interesting. People talk about analyzing your dreams. Well, last night I had a dream about this guy who had this precious egg, and it came from a relative, maybe his mother or something, and in the dream, I broke the egg and threw it away. I thought, oh, it's time to get over it. And so to me, what that part of a dream means to me is that this is me. This is who I am and what I think and what I would do. And I think that's very bad behavior. You should never do that. Something that's precious to somebody else should be left alone, right? It should be enjoyed by them. And so to me, here comes. Oh, hello.
Hello?
Ciao, Em. You work? I come work? He doesn't know what that means. I have to figure it out. He's just off doing his thing. If I come along, I might be able to do something, but I need to rest for a little while. Was I speaking of something important? I can't rewind to see what I was talking about. And I don't know if there's a transcript on these live videos. Do you find there is? If you go down to the bottom in the description to more, you should be able to scroll down and see a little transcript box. And then you can scroll through the stuff that's boring, because I can create a lot of boring content. These are filthy. My goodness. It's rustic living here, which is so cool because I'm all about primitive stuff and how to, and I think it's important to know how to do this stuff. We live in such a society that is so separated from nature and being able to do things naturally. Even when people go camping, they have to purchase thousands of dollars worth of equipment so that they do it properly or something. But none of it is really back to nature, you know, like a fire on the ground and using the plants around to build your shelter. Just a moment now. Let's see what you said, Tyler. Your dreams, your dreams are telling the world that you are selfish and reckless. Yes, interesting, isn't it? So my dreams are an indication of who I am deep inside. I don't think I would actually do that, break this person's egg. But since I did it in my dream, it may relate to something else. And maybe not to breaking the egg, but maybe to cutting the wrong branches off, or doing things that I think are important to be done but are not important to the people around, which may actually not work. Anyway, these are so filthy. Jeepers, can you see how filthy they are? They're just terribly filthy. I don't know if you could tell, but I could tell. And there was another dream where I invited someone to come along. And when we got there, Willem was there, and I was glad to be with Willem. And this person I had invited was a man, and he was like, oh, well. Like he had thought something else, but I had just invited him like a friend. Anyway, he was the one with the egg, which I broke. Broke it with my fingernail. And then I was going to hide that I had done it. Somebody asked where the egg was. So these bad things you do, this is very telestial behavior, very planet Earth stuff. And so doing bad stuff is terrestrial, and thinking to do bad stuff is telestial, and thinking to do good stuff is celestial. And so I'm trying to become like the Savior. I'm trying to put off the natural man and become, you don't like people who have a nicer stuff than you have. No, I don't think that was it. You are just getting rid of stuff you do not need, like your old books. No, I don't think I mind people who have nicer stuff than I have. I think that I don't value those things like other people do. And so I may have less respect for people that value stuff like that over simple things. I don't know. I'm a very simple person, really. It's interesting when I look at my life and see the blessings that I have. You know, like in my life, I always wanted a deck that went all the way around the house, and I never had one. And we bought a really cheap piece of property with a very small, tiny house. And people said, oh, you can't live there, it's too small. But I thought it was fine. And then, of course, I had too much stuff, so I knew that I could not take one more item. People beep their horns if there's a motorcycle a truck is passing. People go slowly enough that you can pull out in front of another car and don't have a head-on collision because everybody's going slow enough that you can get back in. And as they pass each other, they honk. Especially a taxi. With the taxi that we had that brought us out here, he honked all the time. Toot toot every time he went around anybody or came up behind some people. He would come up like 6 inches behind the motorcycle. I had to not watch. But I don't want to keep up with the Joneses before the Joneses refinance. I'm not into that. And I don't like that I have a lot of stuff and it makes me look like I'm a different kind of person. I like to be on the same level with people. Why did you break the egg? I think that I broke the egg because it seemed to be holding him back. He seemed to be, it's not right to have done it, but I think that he was dependent on this egg as his crutch, like a memory of his mother, and he valued the egg so. It was so bad that I did that. It was so bad. And then I sought to hide my sin, I didn't want anybody to know I had done it. Well, why would you do something you don't want anybody to know you've done? Right? So to me, that's the dream. That's the purpose of this dream, is to see that this part of myself and to analyze it and to be able to see my potential of doing these things. Oh, what have we got here? Oh, berries. Come on. Okay, I shall eat them. Thank you. Mm. Mmm. Mmm. They're a little bit like raspberries, but they're juicier. Now I would think this is not ripe, but let's see. A little sour. Right here, sour is good. And these are the bananas. The bananas on the tree, see, they don't grow to be too big. And they're not very sweet either. That's the neighbor. This is Dad. Gonna go harvest something with this bucket. Pretty cool guy. Are they plantations? Well, they are about 100 meters by 1,000 meters. So 1 acre wide, 300 yards, or 300 feet is an acre. So about an acre by a mile or kilometer. And so it's a farm, and they grow different things. It's like a big, huge garden of fruit trees. Those berries are Halucia. Interesting. These are not as sweet as the bananas in Jamaica. Those were very sweet. These taste a little different than our bananas in North America. Yeah. No plantations here, but there probably are that I don't know about. So let me show you how thin the skin is. Here we go. This was quite the experience, you know. I was going to say about my blessings. Ever since I worked on the refugee camp in Fort Indian Town Gap, Pennsylvania, ever since then I wanted to go to Vietnam. I wanted to, I learned a bunch of Vietnamese songs, and I always wanted to go. I'm going to write down this word that you just said. Hallucinations. Oh, they cause hallucinations. No, they're not. I doubt it. But I'll let you know. So this is the fish farming area, I guess, here. See these banana leaves? I need them. I need them for the hut. So he's gone to harvest things. Makes me think I should go find out what he's harvesting. Every day they're harvesting. There's this morning glory that grows on the ground with very long leaves with a point on the ends, which are a salad. And the way they make their food, they cook the meat in the crock pot, and then they put that on the table. And at dinner time, they have a big bowl of all these greens, whether they're lettuce or morning glory or whatever kind. She's pulling leaves off of a bush now. Anyway, and then they take a whole pile of these and they twist them to break them, and then they push them down into the boiling pot, and they get cooked. And you use chopsticks here. There are no forks and things. But I know how to use chopsticks, so I'm good. Yesterday, Anna made a pile of chopsticks out of bamboo. Very nice little chopsticks. It's very interesting to see my daughter-in-law in her own element. Looked like a mulberry, Dao Tam. D-A-U. T-A, is it Tam you said? Tam. Mulberry. Thank you, Nan. I love it here. Anna was going to take me all over Vietnam. We're only going to stay here for a couple days, but I would rather just stay here the whole time and just enjoy it and learn, wander around after him and find out what he does. Goes everywhere and harvests things all day. Brings them to the house, or then they take them to up the road to a market, I guess. It does look wonderful here. Isn't it amazing? Here, I'll turn around so that you can see the other side. Now, how do you say good morning again? Chào buổi sáng. Bạn chui. Bạn chui. Okay, what does bà chui mean? B-A, ba, probably an accent down. Chui, C-H-O-I. Bà chui, bà chui. Probably an accent down. It's a sing-song language, so there's six tones. And the accents tell you which tone you're on. Bon chui. So I did something useful today. I tucked all the bean tops into the netting. Amazing. These guys, it's 8 o'clock now, 5 to 8. These guys work hard all morning until about noon, and then it's time off until about 4. This is a very nice hammock. I'm enjoying my life here. I really like it. I like that I made a grass hut and that we're kind of living in it. Daniel was trying to make a bed over there. And he had it. It was going to work, but he gave up on it and he made it into a bench instead of a hammock. I mean, instead of a bed. I imagine that's a coal. Asian coal. There's this little kitty cat. Daniel has made friends with this little kitty cat. It's very little. And he comes over and he likes to chew on you. But Daniel just holds him for a while until he gets tired of chewing on him. And then he goes to sleep on him. See, there's his bench. He made a very skinny bench. I think I'm going to help him make a bed. I think what we need to do is we need to put an upright right here to the edge. See the bed? That's the bottom. So we just need to come over here and put an upright. And then he's got that rope, you know. He could actually, you know, use the rope to weave it back and forth. Or he could cover it with bamboo, but then he would have to try and make it soft, which you can do with banana leaves. But what if there's ants in the banana leaves? You see, that becomes a little bit of a problem. But you can generally see the ants. I haven't seen any bugs in them. Well, I did on the tree at one point. I saw a whole little colony of ants at the base of one banana leaf, so I didn't bring that leaf. I think I should go. I think I should go for a walk. Do you want to come? Okay, let's get ourselves fixed up here. Okay. I'll bring this just in case I have to write something down. I'll put this on the table in case it rains. Oh, here she is, working hard at something. This is a bridge. That's the neighbor's house. These are the coconut branches I have gathered. I can climb over fences. Sort of. Okay. Did it. Now this seems to be the walkway between the properties. This is the neighbor's property. And that man I saw a minute ago was the neighbor. It's a lot easier to walk on here. Oh, look, another coconut branch. Oh, 2 of them. Oh, 4 of them. Aha. Those bags are over the jackfruit. Oh, look at all these banana leaves. Oh, I have a source. Okay. See, these are morning glories, but those are edible. Those are mango trees. Jackfruit. Coconut. Mango. Maybe this is not the... Maybe I'm not supposed to be over here. It's interesting that he takes his little boat, his long skinny boat with a motor and a big pump on it, and he pumps water and he sprays it up onto his trees on both sides. It's easier walking on here. Oh look, corn, or maybe that's sugarcane. He went out here with a bucket somewhere to harvest oi, probably. Daniel loves oi. I mean guava. Looks like they farm rice. Oh, interesting. That's raising out of the water, so fish can't get out. I guess. So all those little plastic bags on the trees. Oh, what is this? Oh, those are snails. rice, I believe. Looks like it's scattered and not planted by hand. Look at how far it goes. What's the length of the property? A kilometer. That's a long property, isn't it? I don't want to walk on their rice. The rice is usually kept wet for the first couple of months. But I don't know. Something to catch the fish. See how deep the cracks are? Gets very wet and then dries and cracks. This is clay. I made a bowl out of it yesterday. See, when you dig the mud, it looks like that. I was taught when I was farming that if you... Wow, that's really solid stuff. That if you make a powder like this, it's called a dust mulch, and it will keep the water from escaping up the cracks. I wonder why there's so much branches in the water. Maybe it has a reason. I wonder what the plants were that she was dealing with. Yeah, I think this is sugar cane. I think they've planted sugar cane along here. And see those fruit on the tree there? It is wonderful here. So those red things are very, very sweet and juicy. They're just bursts of juice. But it's not drippy juice. Hi, Susan. Good morning. Susan, do you know Nan? Nan, do you know Susan? There's the neighbor farmer. He's cutting the grass. Usually in Bali, when they cut the grass, they feed it to their cows. Okay, so that's the other people. That's Anna's father's land. So they told me to use the... You're late to the show, Corrine. This is Morning Glory, and you can eat those petals. And they do eat them. That's why we have big piles of them in the lunch. We put it in the pot. See, here's a coconut I can use. And this one I can use. I'm still working on my grass hut. If you leave a coconut around for a while, they'll sprout. Then you can plant them. So these are gourds.
Long neck gourd, I think they call them. But they eat them. So the beans are every 2 feet. Is that 2 feet? 1.5 feet. Oh, look at the bird up in the tree. I think it's a spotted dove. Let me look at that. So this is more beans. You have to watch out for. There's more beans. You have to watch out for this wire. The other day, he told me to do this with him. Showed me what to do and then left me and did some more on the other side. Looks like mint. Sure looks like mint, doesn't it? So they eat mint like a vegetable in salad and such.